Despite the Crystal being a rather old ship, it has a modern design. She was launched in 1980 as the Viking Sage, a cruise ferry. Then there were several name and owner changes before Celestial took possession in 2007. We were upgraded to a quite spacious suite due to twice having our scheduled cruise canceled. Thanks, COVID. Our first port of call, where we were greeted by a folk dance troupe. Stroll along the waterfront took us past the White Tower. It was erected by the Ottomans in 1430, replacing an old Byzantine fortification. Boats designed to resemble ancient craft offer tourist sightseeing cruises. This impressive statue depicts Macedonian King Alexander the Great. The highest point of the city offers a fine view of the city and port. It also is the site of a Byzantine and Ottoman-era fortress. In modern times, it was an infamous prison, which closed in 1989. Back down in the city proper, we visited this church during a baptism. Welcome to Turkey. Our stop focused on Ephesus, a major ancient Greek and later Roman city.
If you pay attention to the pipes, you're going to see two types of pipes there, male and female pipes.
This grand avenue is lined with temples, baths, and private homes.
From the Greek mythology. When you go to Greece, if you say, in Greek language, the word.
Originally sited on the coast, due to silting of the river delta, Ephesus now is some 2 miles inland. At the end of Marble Street are the remains of the Library of Celsus, a major center of learning. The Theater of Ephesus hosted debates, theatrical, gladiator, and other events. It also is where Paul preached the gospel to the Ephesians. Entering the harbor at Rhodes, we passed where once the Colossus statue stood. Exactly where is unknown. The center of the old town is devoted primarily to shopping. Up the hill, this castle is the main site to visit. The Knights of St. John governed here for some 250 years before being displaced by the Ottomans in 1552. The street leading from the castle back down the hill held the headquarters for each of the 7 knights' orders, each marked with their shields. Much of Crete's fame comes from the work of this man. He excavated and recreated many of the structures of the Knossos Palace. The frescoes are replicas. This open area was used for events and sporting ceremonies. While called the throne room, based on the throne-like chair, it likely was not such. The complex was built on several levels with maze-like interlocking rooms. We spent our free time in Iraklio with a short stroll and then a visit to the Municipal Art Gallery. Santorini consists of 5 islands, the remains of a volcanic crater which was destroyed by 2 eruptions. The volcano is still active, with one of the islands emerging in 1707. Our tour took us first to a small traditional village. Then we moved on to Ia, famous for its blue-domed buildings and sunset views. Even being here in the off-season, it was crowded enough that access to many viewpoints was quite difficult. We stopped for a cooling drink to escape the scrum. As the day ended, we tendered back to the ship. First up, a drive out into the island's countryside and a visit to one of the many beaches Mykonos has on offer. This one had quite a coarse granular composition. Afterwards, we visited one of the island's monasteries. It originally was built in 1542 by 2 priests and then restored in 1767. Back in the capital of the island, we took a walking tour starting at the old harbor. Having a guide ensured that we didn't get lost in the maze of narrow streets. This church houses 5 small chapels. The nickname is due to the buildings being so close to the water and it being part of the 13th century Venetian fortress that once stood here. The windmills, now only an attractive decoration for the town, once ground grain for export. At Milos, the ship's lifeboats served as our tenders. A visit to the mining museum was an interesting stop. There have been mines on the island since prehistoric times, and some 200 mines are currently active. Near the Papa Frangus beach are a series of 3 contiguous caves, where in the Middle Ages a Frankish priest lived.
Real house. I thought they were kidding.
This beach is one of the most photographed in Greece. The wind and sea-carved stone provide spectacular otherworldly views.
So I'm so doing that.
I'm scared.
A short drive took us into the town of Plaka for a brief visit. Back to the Crystal and an overnight cruise returning to Athens.